This show is sponsored by Primal Kitchen.
Today we're making picadillo with green beans and a roasted asparagus with a simple hollandaise. It's a cheat. Have your recipe? I got mine. Let's get started. What are we doing today? We're making a picadillo. And I have learned there are many, many, many different kinds of picadillo because it's very regional, the same way that chili is regional, right? And so I have put my own spin on this because I am making this with green beans because we are adding more veggies. We're going veggie forward in all of these healthy meals and minutes that we are making. Let's get started again, Adrienne. So we have our asparagus here. That's going to be the first thing that we're going to get going. Your oven, we want up at 425, right? So let's get that started. Get that nice and hot, right? We're going to clean our asparagus in our baking soda veggie cleaning water here. It's been scientifically proven and tested that it gets off all the residues the best. So isn't that nice to learn? I thought it was. It's fun to look on my Instagram and see the residue following stuff that happens with it. All right, so we are taking our cookie sheet of whatever size you have. I really prefer to get a large one to let the asparagus all lay out in a single line. And that way it will cook evenly and it will cook quickly because we have hungry people, whether it's us, whether we are caregivers, whether we're a family, whatever it is, we need that food cooking right away and we want it getting done now. We have our aluminum foil. I put the parchment paper on top of it so that way we're not touching the metals, and this way the foil will help us not have to clean up this cookie sheet afterwards. We're going to spray it with some of our Primal Kitchen avocado oil spray. Just a little spritz. Our asparagus, we're going to just trim the ends off here. So I know there's the whole rule of you just kind of let it snap and wherever it snaps, but sometimes it doesn't, depending on if you have a fresh asparagus, wow, look at that, or not. I remember Julia Child talking about asparagus one time, and she said, if you can't get it fresh from the market when it's first picked, then don't use it. Well, we don't have that luxury. So what did I just do while I was talking? I trimmed off, and it was more because I think in my recipe, let's see, I say a ½ inch, and again, if you have nice baby asparagus, it is only going to be a little bit that you're trimming off. But when it gets bigger, you're going to have to trim off a little bit more. We're going to take our rubber band off, and we're going to spread these guys out. To that, we are going to put some salt. A little bit. I'd like to use a spoon. I do not like to use my fingers because then your salt sticks together and whatever schmutzies you have on your fingers gets on your salt and then you lose that salt. Again, we're talking freshly cracked black pepper because yes, that does taste fabulous, but what if you don't have it? You just got regular black pepper? Let's use it. And then we're going to drizzle our Primal Kitchen avocado oil. Beautiful neutral flavor, really brings out the flavor of the vegetables themselves. We're drizzling that over, and that is supposed to be 1 tablespoon if you love to measure and you don't feel comfortable pouring, because you can have the accident of pouring too heavy, right? So maybe you need to have that measurement. So that's how much I use. We'll just kind of roll them around to get all that seasoning and that oil in there. Just like that. And then I'm going to wash my hands real quick, because the other thing I like to do, and I don't know if it's effective or not, is because you have that salt, so it kind of massages the oil into your hands so you don't get dishpan hands. And when we're making our picadillo today, we are going to be using Primal Kitchen's tomato basil sauce instead of tomato paste and water. It's made with California grown tomatoes. There's no cane sugar, there's no corn syrup, there aren't any artificial sweeteners. Our zesty tomato basil marinara has a classic Italian flavor that we're going to put a Hispanic Spanish spin on today. Yes, we are. Washing my hands. Just rinsing them off. It's only vegetables. It's not raw meat. And this way I get to get my hands a little bit moisturized with the avocado oil as well. We're going to put this in the oven. We'll put the timer on for 12 minutes. And now let's see how fast we go with everything else. No, seriously. So we need ground beef, we have our tomato sauce, we have olives, thyme, allspice, cumin, paprika, and I say a medium onion, small dice. Now here's the thing, this onion is huge for a medium onion. This would be a large onion back in the day. And if you don't like a lot of onion, well, then maybe you can use a shallot. Or maybe you just use powdered onion, because I do have various clients that I meal prep for that don't like onion. They don't like the texture of it. And I'm sure there's those of you out there saying, yes, that is correct. You can use powdered onion instead, all right? So we're just gonna use a shallot today. And we're cutting off the tip end, we're gonna keep the root end. And we're going to cut this in half to peel. And take this top layer of skin off. Sometimes you have to take a couple if there's mold on the onion or on the shallot. Those are called mycotoxins, which are bad mold for your body. And we don't want bad mold in our body. I don't know if there is any good mold. I don't think there's a good mold, except when we're talking blue cheese. When we're talking blue cheese, then it is good mold, especially like a gorgonzola. I like a raw gorgonzola best personally. I am digressing here. So let's clear this away. We're going to use just a little bit of onion today. We're not going to delve into our jumbo onion. We don't have time for that. We just have time to enjoy the food that we're making, and we're going to have fun while we're playing with it. So this is one of those times where I am going to get my paring knife out to cut our little baby shallot instead of using our big chef onion. Why? Because look at this. Someone going to have an accident someplace? It could happen. It's happened to me still. It happened to me last week. So we're just going to take our shallot. I'm moving my cutting board down closer to me, and we're going to cut towards the root end. We're doing a little knife skills today, and we're going to put a couple of slices into it. What is this? Horizontally towards the root end, and then vertically we're going to cut towards the root end, but we're going to keep it all attached. This is the way you should cut any and all of your onions, okay? So that is how we are going to get our minced onion, and it's all going to be the same size. And the root really tells you when it's time to stop. So instead of destroying your fingers or your fingernails or your fingertips, it's only the onion that this is happening to. Isn't that nice? Now, I don't know if you noticed that my cutting board is slipping all over the place. Adrienne, I love my cutting board, but I hate that. What can I do about it? So glad you asked. You can take a towel and put it under, pro tip for the day, your cutting board, as I lose my shallot, and it's not going to slip anymore for you. Do you love me yet? If not, I will, I promise. At some point, you will love me. Look at that fire go. Whoosh. So we're putting our heat pan on like medium high. The reason why you're doing that is because there's rumors out there that once you start grilling meat, it's carcinogenic, and it's actually the heat that you're cooking your temperature at. It doesn't have anything to do with the meat itself. If it's organic, if it's raised the way nature intended that to happen, there's like all sorts of stories out there. We're using our Primal Kitchen avocado oil, which is fabulous for our high heat, which is what we are doing. I did skip the part of having you make sure that your pan is hot before adding the oil. You can do it either way, really. When you have an oil like our Primal Kitchen avocado oil that's fabulous with high heat, you're not going to scorch it. Once you feel that heat in your pan, and of course if you're using gas, then you could feel the flame before you feel the pan getting hot. That's a little trick there. Look for when it starts to shimmer, and that is when we are going to add our shallot. Okay? And listen to that sizzle. So, fun fact, if you want to sweat your onions, that means that they're getting shiny. And you do want to wait until we get to that shiny point before we add our salt as far as caramelization goes. So we're going to add a little bit of salt, and then we have our grass-fed, grass-finished pasture-raised ground beef that we are going to add. I play around with ground beef and no added fats or having added fats with our onions and garlic. And I do enjoy just taking the meat and cooking it with the onion and not adding any extra fats also. So if you're concerned about what you're doing and how it's happening, then avoid having that. I'm going to lower this heat a little bit and I'm going to wash my hands. We're starting to sizzle a little fast there. And we definitely want to keep our hands clean. So we're going to stir this up a little bit. And we're going to add our herbs and our spices. Again, when it comes to picadillo, you're kind of looking at different spices and different things. So depending on what region you're in, sometimes it's potatoes that go in your picadillo. Sometimes it's a chickpea that goes into picadillo. I'm going to put green beans, like I said. But first we're going to add our paprika, our cumin, thyme, and I believe you could also add oregano. And thyme and oregano are in the same family, so I think that's why it just kind of depends. And just a dash of allspice. You really don't want a lot of allspice in there. And then, like I said, we're going to be putting our Primal Kitchen tomato basil marinara sauce in this instead of using tomato paste and water. And for me, it's just one of those things where you're getting the bang for your buck. You're getting that little bit of extra added veggie happening. So we're going to open up our olives, and I'm going to put a little bit of the olive juice in here. And then I am going to take our olives themselves. So the Manzanilla olives are just the green olives with the pimentos in them. You can buy them pre-sliced as well, so you don't have to chop them. And for those that do not like to cut anything, having them pre-sliced really helps. I'm just going to chop these up real quick here. And we're going to add these to our picadillo, like so. Let's change the heat back a little bit. And while this is cooking at this point, because our beef, you can use ground turkey, you can use ground chicken, you can use a plant-based meat if you want to. With your ground beef, you can add your veggies at this point to get all those flavors rolling. So I'm taking our bag of frozen cut green beans. Again, it's a fast, simple way. I've noticed with families, especially with young children, they prefer cut green beans over whole green beans. Another fun fact that I have learned during the past few years with the way things have changed price-wise in economy is that now there are big brand stores whose organic vegetables cost less than your non-organic frozen vegetables, and you actually get more for it. So for example, in this case, this is a pound of cut green beans, and I believe the organic cut green beans, and they're $3.39. Or you can go to another store and they have cut green beans and they're only a 12-ounce bag and they're $3.29. So I'm all about finding tips and tricks for you to save money and to eat better. So while we are letting this cook, never let your spoon sit and rest in a pan. Why? Because heat can radiate, especially when it comes from a flame, and then you're going to burn yourself. It happened to my girlfriend a couple weeks ago, and she screamed in pain when she grabbed her pot handle. So don't leave your kitchen equipment in the pans, even though I probably will again and set a really bad example for you. So while we are waiting, we are going to take our Primal Kitchen mayonnaise. It is an avocado oil mayonnaise, and it is made with cage-free eggs. And what difference does that make? Again, it has to do with the nutrition of the chicken itself and what it is giving and providing for you and the nutrition that you are having in your body. And this, like I said, is a super simple cheat hollandaise that we can do. So when you want that effortless hollandaise, you don't have the energy or effort to make it, let me share a shortcut recipe that has no high fructose corn syrup, canola oil, or refined sugars. Primal Kitchen's avocado oil mayo will give you the flavors you crave. We got this together. Are you ready? All we have to do is we're going to take, on your second page, you will notice, we have our avocado hollandaise mayo. We're using 1 cup of the mayonnaise. So this is a large amount that we are making recipe-wise, okay? And you'll understand why in just a moment here. And all we need is some lemon juice. Now, fresh lemon is always best, but again, if you don't have fresh lemon, you can use lemon juice. There's nothing wrong with that whatsoever. Again, I want you to have fun. And we're just going to start adding the lemon juice here until it loosens up our mayo. Is this a proper hollandaise? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. However, it has the egg yolks, it has the lemon, so we're there. Doesn't have the white wine, but that's okay. We're just trying to get you to a really tasty place with all of the flavors that we're making today. So yes, I'm going to use my finger to taste. Definitely need more lemon. No, I won't use that finger again to taste anything, I promise. But you just keep adding your lemon until you get the hollandaise-y flavor out of it. If you want to add some tarragon, add some tarragon. I'm going to keep this kind of pure and simple today. I'm going to use my other finger now. It's crazy how you can make a mayonnaise into a faux hollandaise when you want that to happen. So happy. Washing my hands. We're going to check our asparagus. We're going to stir this up one time while we're over here. Say hello, Picadillo. Woo. How are you today? I think we need to put a little bit of salt in here. I don't think I had added any salt yet. It's cooking nice and even. We shall taste and see what's going on with our food. There's our timer for our asparagus. Our green beans have taken a little bit of the flavor away. So we're going to add a little bit more paprika. This is why it's important to taste. A little bit more cumin. Definitely want the thyme in there. You should be able to taste the flavor of the thyme. I think thyme or thyme is on my side. It's a joke I had with one of my assistants way back in the day. A little bit more allspice, a little bit more salt. I bet that asparagus is going to look really, really good. Let's see what's happening after I stir this together. I think everything's going to work out so well and with such nice timing here that you can use a towel or you could actually use, novel idea, hot pads. Looky at this. They have a nice roast on them. I don't know what else to describe them. I'm awful with words if you haven't learned that about me already, but they're still nice and crisp. So while we're waiting for that picadillo, let's put our asparagus on a plate. If we're doing family style, right? If it was meal prep, you'd be putting them separately, individually into containers. So look, look how cool that is, right? And then we'll drizzle some of our faux hollandaise. If you have any salt and pepper that you want to add to this, of course, fresh cracked pepper would be absolutely perfect. Let's see how pretty this is. We're going to use black pepper. If you don't like that pepper, there are people that avoid it like the plague just because it doesn't work with their systems. You can do that as well. Here comes our picadillo. And what did I do? I just about burnt myself because I left this in the pan. That would have been fun, right? Watch me go, ah, and not curse all at the same time. Sometimes your pot handle, even if you have a cover on it, maybe towards the base of the pan, that can get hot also. So maybe, just maybe, you want to have a towel or a hot pad that you are going to add in to when you're touching your hot pans. So look at this for cleanup too. We have our picadillo. We're going to wash our pan right now. And we're also going to grab our whisk and we're going to clean that. And we're going to put our spoon in here to scoop out. And then we're going to talk about this really cool wine that we have to go with our meal today. So look at this, you're cleaned up. you're all cleaned up. We're gonna get our wine for today. It is this fabulous wine from PRP that is a preservative-free, no added sulfite wine that plays with the earthy flavors of the dish to complement with earthy and peppery wines. This is an 85% Cabernet, 15% Merlot. It's well balanced with round and smooth tannins and toasty notes at the finish. We have aromas of ripe red fruits and cherry that configure it to be combined with notes of black pepper, dried fruits, and vanilla. You can get this and all these fabulous wines that I talk about with Rosie, your wine lady. Scan that QR code and you will get those wines to you today. So, final taste. Ready for the final taste? I'm ready for the final taste. I want to get a little bit of everything. I got the green bean, I got the olive, I got the meat. So good. I'm getting asparagus. Together, this is such a great combination. I hope you enjoy it. Until the next time, Food Whisperer.
Stay tuned for next week's grocery list and meal, right after Caring for the Community.
So we are back with Caring for the Community, and for me it's all about nonprofits, and I have some very special ones that are near and dear to my heart. And today I have Katie Ray, or the real Katie Ray, with Fostering Hearts Florida. Katie, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me, Chef.
President extraordinaire. So, why and where is there a lack of support for foster children in the system?
So when Fostering Hearts started, we were looking for all the gaps in the system, and one of the big gaps, I mean there are a ton, but one of the big gaps was education. The high school graduation rate is under 50% in Florida and under 30% nationwide. And the big problem there is these kids are leaving and aging out of the system with no support and finding themselves in the homeless community, addiction community, and jail, rather than uplifting them within education and maybe mastering a subject or a trade school. That's something that they can do for their future.
That was something that I found very interesting, was that at 18, as soon as you're 18, boom, all that's done, any support that you may have had, correct? So. Yeah. So is this why education and self-worth exercises and life skill activities are so important for foster kids?
Yes, it is so imperative that we get ahead of this. They are falling behind. They've been in multiple schools, shelters, homes, and they can't catch up in the educational system right now, the public school system. And what we're going to do is bring a concept that allows them to have education in a safe space.
So what is the concept that Fostering Hearts Florida is rolling out, and why is it going to be so impactful for foster children everywhere?
Thank you for asking. I'm so excited to share this.
Yes.
The concept utilizes Florida Virtual School accredited curriculum, and what that does is allow for teachers on staff at Florida Virtual School to help the educator on site. And the main purpose of the educator on site is for that life skill support, emotional support, and social support for those kiddos. You know, they have experienced a lot of things that we can't even explain or other adults have not even experienced. So what they're going to do is provide that to build that self-worth and self-confidence, get that high school rate up, and really allow them to make an educated decision at 18 of what's next for them. Because I don't know about you, but at 18, I wasn't making the best decisions.
Nope, I don't think I was either.
Empowering them as a community, making them feel loved, seen, and heard is going to be so impactful for them. And our pilot program launches in August, where we partner with another nonprofit to bring the education to their four-group home facility.
Wow, that's really great. So why did you get into the work for one of the most vulnerable groups of people in society?
I think it's really important awareness. A lot of people don't realize what foster kids go through. And there are stories out there of people almost going into the foster care system, children being their mothers were in the foster care system. There's a lot of trauma that we haven't healed, and education can be such a powerful tool for foster kids. And I felt after doing the research that if we can roll this concept across Florida, across the nation, this will really help the community of foster kids get the support they need and see that there is people rooting for them and create more awareness and more people banding together to help the kids in the system, because they're kids.
Well, Katie Ray, thank you so much for doing this and for bringing this awareness, because again, this was something that until I met you, I wasn't really that aware of. So how can we contact Fostering Hearts Florida? How can people get in touch with you?
Yes, fosteringheartsfl.org. Please reach out. We would love for you to be a part of the program. Maybe come tell the kids what industry you're in. But of course, we're fundraising for the educators and the concept and equipment for the kids.
Okay, so one more time, can we have the name of your website again for people to contact you and be involved?
Yes, it is www.fosteringheartsfl.org. I'm Katie Ray, R-E-Y. Reach out to us and we would be happy to let you know how you can get involved.
Well, thank you for caring for our community.
Thanks.
All right, take care.
Join us next week to make sausage pizza mushrooms with wilted greens. Today's show is sponsored by Primal Kitchen. With just a drizzle, dollop, or spread of Primal Kitchen, your meals will be packed with premium ingredients and elevated flavor. Find their fabulous sauces at primalkitchen.com, Target, Sprouts, Whole Foods, Walmart, and Kroger. And remember to visit primalkitchen.com to see the latest specials they're offering. Primal Kitchen is the food whisperer's go-to for recipe inspiration to make a meal with real high-quality ingredients. Today's segment sponsor is Cargaca Services, where family values and contracting expertise unite. Contact Carlos today to start building your dream into a reality at cargaca@yahoo.com. Give him a call at 813-735-8502